In this video we're going to be drawing a Hoberman style collapsible cube. We'll be using the program Sketchup, and you'll notice as I start drawing I use a lot of shortcut keys, so you're not going to see me push the actual buttons, but I will try to call out what I'm doing. So we're going to start with a rectangle. It's going to be 5 inches by 5 inches. Then we'll push pull 5 inches to get a cube. So we're trying to find a center point here. So we're going to go ahead and draw a line here and a line to there, and that is our center point. So we're going to use that triangle to draw the hinges we need. So let's move the triangle over, isolate it, and then we're going to rotate it so it's flat. It just makes it easier to work on when it's a flat surface. Okay, we're going to delete the top line. Then we're going to use the arc tool, and you need to make sure that once you click the button you specify 6 sides, so that as you draw this arc it splits that line into 6 segments. Then we're going to rotate this line and use the copy function, which is Option on a Mac and I think it's Control on a PC, and we're going to say ×5 so that it gives you all those segments. Make that a group. Now we're going to draw a line from that point to that point, and we're going to use that line to figure out what our hinge looks like. So we're going to bring it down there, rotate it over to that line. Now we're going to rotate and copy basically over to the second line. Now we're going to take those 2 lines and copy them up to the end point of that first line, and then we'll rotate this around. So now this kind of shows us where our 3 hinge points are. So let's take these 2 lines and move them over. Then go ahead and rotate that down to the green axis. And there are your 3 pivot points. Let's make that a group. Now we're going to draw some circles. First one is 3/32 radius, and then next one is 3/16. I'll take that and copy it there and copy it there. Now we'll do some offset lines of 1/8 of an inch, and I'll show you where to draw the lines for the edge of the scissor hinges. We'll go ahead and erase the unnecessary lines. Then we'll push pull 1/8, and there you have it. That is your first part. We're going to start with the polygon tool, specifying 3 sides and using a dimension of 1 inch for the radius there. Then use the tape measure and do an offset of 1 1/8 on each side. Now draw a line in each of those spots and erase those endpoints. Now push pull a 1/16. Draw a line here. These are each of the flanges. Now we're going to be offsetting these 1/8 of an inch. Each of these needs to be offset so that the hinge can be on one side of it. Erase those unnecessary lines. Now push pull 1/2 inch. Then we're going to use the tape measure, go down 1/4 inch and over 1/4 inch. That's the center of where the pins are going to be going in. Now draw a 3 30-seconds circle, and then go to the edge, push pull to get rid of that, push pull, erase those lines. Then you just got to do that on the other two sides. The next part is not necessary, but if you do have the round corners extension, I just put a little 16-inch radius on these just to smooth it out a little bit. And there you have it. That's your second part. Now we're going to draw a circle with a radius of 3 30-seconds, and then offset that line by a 64th. That's just so it doesn't make the pins super tight in the joints. Then go ahead and make that a group. Now I'm going to draw a line out to the side, 1/4 inch, go over 1/2 inch, over 3/8, 1/2 inch. Now push pull that a 16th. Now push pull the circle 8 inches. And we're gonna copy that over to the end of the pin. Now let's select that whole thing and go right click, go to intersect faces with model. Now we can select those 4 lines and drop them down a 30-second. This is unnecessary, it cuts down on printing time by barely anything, so I don't even know if it's worth it, but I'm doing it. And those are just there, those little boxes are just there so it doesn't move around on the printer. I'm gonna erase those unnecessary lines. And now I'm gonna copy these so you can actually print this all in one file. Then we'll copy these as well. I think I'll do them in bundles of 8. You need 16 for this project, but I like to split up my prints. And let's copy these over, and we'll put these into groups of 12. You need 72 total, so you'll have to print that 6 times. And there you have all your parts. Now you're going to export STL. You'll need a STL import and export extension if you don't have one. I use the Qidi 3D X Plus 3D printer. I haven't used any other ones, but I've been really happy with this one. I have just a pair of those pins that finished up. I'll continue to print all the parts needed for the build. We're going to take the wedge piece that we drew initially and use that. We're going to do some tape measure offset lines of 3/8 of an inch, and I'm just going to draw some lines. I needed lines perpendicular to those other lines, so I drew those. Now we're going to group all that together and make it a component. I'm going to just mark the center lines on these and highlight all that and make that a component as well. Same thing with this one. Okay, we're going to move this over and center that there. Then we're going to rotate this one and copy. Then move that up. Highlight both of those. Rotate and copy. And then hit ×2 once you lock that in. Now you have your pieces, so let's just open up the component and delete those lines. I'm not going to draw the pins in on this. You can do that if you want, but I don't think it needs it. I'm going to drop that down, that whole thing down. That gives us a plane to work with. We'll rotate this around, then rotate, copy, rotate, and then we get these lined up. As you can see, they're offsetting, so the hinges can actually be offset as well. I'm going to just move this over a little bit, highlight all that, group it together, and draw a center line. We're going to pull this right over here. Now we're going to rotate this whole thing and snap to that line, that perpendicular line we drew earlier, and then slide that one over to the other hole. I'm going to go ahead and delete that because we don't need it really anymore. Now we're going to highlight that all and rotate it around the red axis 45 degrees. And then we'll rotate it around the blue axis while also copying 90 degrees. And then type in ×3, enter. Now you have the top half. Now select it all and rotate around the red axis 180 degrees, also copying. And now for the rest you just need the part without the joints, so we're going to rotate that and copy around the red axis 90 degrees, then rotate and copy around the blue axis 90 degrees, then times it by 3. And we'll delete those lines in there, and there you have it. And you don't have to draw this whole thing up, you can just draw the parts, but I thought might be good to just see how it all goes together. It's kind of fun. So comment, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching.